Welcome into class today. Let's roll down onto the back of the body, coming to lie all the way down on your back, and then bringing the legs into butterfly. So soles of the feet come together, releasing the knees down to the floor, and then bringing the arms either out to shoulder height or bending through the elbows, creating a 90-degree bend through the elbows. Or the third option is to bring the arms overhead, taking hold of the elbows and then softening the arms down towards the floor. So experimenting today with whatever feels right for you, whatever feels best in your body, and then gently allowing the eyes to close. Just taking these first few minutes of class to get settled, getting settled into the breath, into the body, into this space that you have carved out for yourself. Taking a moment to check in, to notice how the body feels. Running your mind's eye from the toes, slowly working your way all the way up towards the crown of the head. Checking in, noticing any sensations. Aiming not to judge those sensations, just aiming to experience them, to notice them, without labeling them as good or bad. Just observing them as they are. Taking a few more long, slow breaths here. Allowing yourself to soften, to relax, to give in to the floor beneath you. And then gently releasing the arms, stretching the arms away, lengthening. And then releasing the arms, bringing the hands to the thighs, supporting the legs as you draw the knees in. And then hugging the knees in towards the chest, bringing the hands over the knees. And then creating some small circles with the knees in one direction. And then back the other way. Coming back to center, bringing the arms out to shoulder height. Let's bring the feet down to the floor, so a comfortable distance away from the buttocks. Feet don't have to be too close together, about hip width distance apart. Inhaling and then exhaling, letting the feet, or the knees rather, drop down towards the right, turning the head to look out to the left. Breathing here, seeing if you can soften. Inhaling, lifting the knees back up to center. And exhaling, releasing them down to the left, turning the head to look out to the right. Softening through the neck, through the shoulders. Inhaling, lifting up. Pausing in center for a moment. Let's lift through the pelvis. So peeling the spine off the floor, lifting the pelvis up into the sky. And then slowly rolling the spine back down. So aiming to lower one vertebra at a time, keeping the core engaged as you slowly lower down. And then dropping the knees back to the right. Head turns to look out to the left, and option to lift the lower leg, crossing it over the top leg so that we can gently increase the weight, increase the body weight here on the left knee. Feeling how that gently increases the stretch for you. Continuing to breathe, continuing to soften. Seeing if you can soften through the entire body. So not just releasing through the feet, through the legs, but also softening through the hip and the upper body, the shoulders, the jaw, the chest. Unwrapping the leg, inhaling, bringing the knees and the head back up to center, lifting through the pelvis, peeling the spine off the floor, lowering back down, and then dropping the knees down to the left, head turns to look out to the right. Lifting the lower leg, so left leg lifts out from under you, crosses over the top leg. And once more softening here. So again, taking the awareness into the body. Noticing any tension and seeing if you can gently release that tension. Working with each exhalation to soften a little more, a little further into the stretch. And then slowly unwrapping the legs, inhaling, bringing the knees back up to center. And then let's draw the knees into the chest, inhaling and exhaling, taking the knees over towards the right elbow, turning the head to look out to the left. And again, bringing the awareness into the stretch, just noticing where you feel this in the body. Again, seeing if you can soften through the legs, through the feet. Engaging through the core, inhaling, lifting, and then exhaling, releasing the knees down towards the left. Head turns to look out to the right. Softening through the knees, through the ankles, through the feet. Seeing if you can release the right shoulder a little closer down towards the floor. Seeing if you can soften a little further through the top hip, the right hip, the right thigh. And then checking in with the left leg as well. Can you soften that any further? Inhaling, lifting the knees back up to center. And then gently squeezing the legs in, working with some spinal rolls. So crossing the ankles, reaching down to take hold of the outside of the big toes, or alternatively bringing the hands in underneath the backs of the legs from either position, gently rocking backwards and forwards, giving our spine a bit of a massage here. Lifting through the crown of the head as you sit tall and curving through the spine as you roll the body down. If the ankles are crossed, then crossing the legs over in the opposite direction and working with a few more. Perhaps you may like to pause on the shoulders or anywhere along the spine that feels like it needs a little bit of extra attention, a little extra softening. Maybe gently swaying from side to side. Just giving the muscles around the spine a little bit of a massage. Gently rolling yourself all the way up to a seated position. And then spinning yourself around, coming to all fours, working with a couple of rounds of cat-cow. So starting by inhaling, dropping the belly down towards the floor, lifting the tailbone up towards the sky, pushing into the hands so that we can lift the chest forward. Exhaling Pushing the spine away, tucking the tailbone under, looking to the belly button. Again, pushing into the hands, feeling the shoulder blades spreading apart. Inhaling, sinking the belly down, tailbone lifts, head lifts. Really working to push the heart forward, the sternum forward. Exhaling, once more, pushing the spine away. Inhaling, scooping the body down, looking forward. And releasing. Let's work with some lateral stretches, so side stretches. So aiming to draw your right hip and right shoulder together, turning to look towards the right hip, squeezing them together, releasing and working over to the opposite side. Stretching the left hip and left shoulder towards each other. Maybe feeling a stretch through the right side body, releasing once more to each side. So hip and shoulder draw towards each other, seeing if you can twist the head, looking around towards the hip, releasing, and last time, stretching over to the left. Aiming to keep drawing the shoulder and the hip towards each other, and then releasing. From here, let's work our way into heart to earth pose. So leaving the hips stacked directly over the knees. Knees are about hip width distance apart. And then walking the hands out in front of you and aiming to lower the chest and the forehead down towards the floor. If you can comfortably reach the forehead to the floor, you might like to experiment with resting the nose or the chin down on the floor. Continuing to push down into the hands so that you feel a stretch through the shoulders. Breathing here. And then slowly working your way back up into tabletop. Tucking the toes under, let's work our way up into down dog. So pointing the index fingers towards the front of your mat. Index fingers are parallel to each other. Engaging through the arms, tucking the toes under, and then pushing the tailbone up into the sky as you push the arms away or the hands away from you, creating length through the spine, keeping the knees bent, aiming to find the natural curves of the spine. So making sure that we're not hunched over, working to find those natural curves. If you're having trouble with that, then bending the knees a little further will help create a little extra space through the back of the body. Slowly working to move in the direction of straight legs, one leg at a time. You may not straighten the legs all the way, just gently pedaling and continuing to push firmly into the hands. Really working to push the hands away, feeling how that helps you to lift the tailbone up into the sky. Pushing both heels down towards the floor. And then let's look to the hands, walking the feet up to the hands and finding a forward fold. So bringing the hands here to the elbows, allowing the head and the upper body to just dangle down towards the floor. Maybe swaying gently from side to side. Working to lift up through the backs of the legs. And then coming back to center, releasing the hands down to the floor, bringing the hands to the shins, inhaling, lifting to a flat back. So again, working to find the natural curves of the spine, to extend and lengthen from the tailbone all the way out to the crown of the head. Inhaling, exhaling, folding the body forward, releasing the hands down towards the floor, working to straighten through the backs of the legs. So working to lift up through the kneecaps to engage the fronts of the legs at the same time as we work to lift the tailbone up into the sky and engage through the backs of the legs. Once more, inhaling to a halfway lift. So bringing the hands to the shins, lifting and lengthening through the spine. The spine is parallel to the floor. Exhaling, lowering down. From here, rolling the spine up, so tucking the tailbone under, stacking one vertebra on top of the next until we come all the way up to standing. Circling through the shoulders and then back the other way. Let's get a little bit more into the shoulders. So clasping the hands behind the body, bringing the thumbs to rest on the tailbone, rolling the shoulder blades back and down to help you open through the chest. And then from here, gently looking up towards the sky, taking the heart or the sternum up towards the sky. So thinking here about lifting and lengthening rather than about leaning back. Keeping length through the lower back, gently releasing the arms. And then stepping the legs a comfortably wide distance apart. From here, leaving the hands interlaced, drawing the hands down towards the floor, engaging through the core, inhaling, exhaling as you fold the body forward, and then work to lift the hands up towards the sky. Allowing the head to dangle down towards the floor, continuing to squeeze the shoulder blades together, working to press the palms of the hands together, and then releasing the hands back down towards the tailbone, engaging the core, inhaling, making your legs strong as you lift the body up. And then let's change the clasp of the hands. So just swapping the fingers and the thumb over to the awkward hand positioning. So there'll be one direction that feels normal and natural. Swapping those fingers over will feel perhaps a little bit strange, but it's a good mental exercise to do. So with the hands clasped in the opposite direction, again, squeezing the shoulder blades together, opening through the chest, sending the hands down towards the floor, squeezing the shoulder blades together, engaging the core, lifting and lengthening, exhaling as you fold forward, taking the hands up towards the sky. Continuing to squeeze the shoulder blades together to open through the front of the chest, keeping the legs strong and active. So continuing to lift the kneecaps up towards the hips, as well as lengthening through the backs of the legs. Slowly releasing the hands down towards the tailbone. And then let's bring the hands all the way down towards the floor. From here, gently rocking backwards and forwards from the heels into the balls of the feet. And then perhaps stepping your feet a little closer in to give you a bit more space between your head and the floor, bringing the hands to the elbows and then pulsing through the upper body. And really getting into the backs of the legs here. Taking the forearms over towards the right. Continuing to stay strong through the legs. Continuing to pulse through the upper body. Working your way back to center. And then coming over to the left. Pulsing the forearms down towards the outside of the foot. Observing the sensations of the stretch as we move and noticing how they shift. Working your way back to center, continuing to pulse in the center. And then working your way once more to each side, so coming over to the right. Back to center. And over to the left. Releasing back to center. Dangling the hands down towards the floor, perhaps bringing the palms of the hands flat to the floor and drawing the head closer to the floor. You might like to walk the hands back behind you so that they come in line with the feet. And then releasing, bringing the hands to the hips, rolling the shoulder blades back and down, squeezing the shoulders together so that the elbows start to point up towards the sky. Strengthening through your core and through the legs. Inhaling, lifting the body up. Stepping the feet back in. So bringing the heels and then the toes in, and then having a shake out. Pausing here in Tadasana, the pose of the mountain. So bringing the inner feet together. So aiming to bring the heels and the big toes to touch. Drawing up through the kneecaps, lifting from the heels all the way up to the buttock muscles, sending the tailbone down towards the floor, corseting in your waist, so drawing the lower hip points in towards the spine, rolling the shoulder blades back and down so that we open through the chest, lifting through the sternum, sending the crown of the head, the center of the head up into the sky, and charging your fingers, sending the fingers down towards the floor. Feeling that as we push the fingers down towards the floor, this helps you to grow a little taller. Pausing with the eyes closed, keeping those activations. And then gently releasing, softening the arms, softening the legs, and again having a shake out. Rolling through the shoulders, and then back the other way. From here, let's come down onto the knees. If you need a little extra padding here underneath the knees, either grabbing a blanket and popping it under the knees, or if you have a mat, you can double your mat over and then come to kneel on that folded over extra thick piece of mat. Stepping the left foot forward, bringing the foot in front of the knee, working with some lunges here. So bringing the hands over the knee just to support the knee. We're not leaning into the knee. Continuing to lift and lengthen through the spine. Continuing to draw the tailbone down towards the floor. Inhaling and then exhaling as you soften the body forward. Checking in with the ankle and the knee, aiming to have the foot either in front or the ankle either in front of the knee or directly underneath. Softening here. And then inhaling, lifting, pointing the toes up towards the sky, exhaling, folding the body forward. And again, finding that stretch through the backs of the legs. Also working to keep the spine long here and aiming not to twist open. So aiming to soften the entire body down over that front leg. And then releasing, bringing the foot back to the floor, bringing the hands back to the knee, inhaling, exhaling, softening forward. Really sinking in here. Inhaling, lifting up, lifting the toes up into the sky, folding forward as you exhale. Keeping the length through the spine. Inhaling, lifting up, hands come to the knees. Exhaling, folding forward, an option this time to lift through the back leg and maybe reaching around to take hold of the back foot. If you are reaching to take hold of the back foot, aim to then twist the shoulders so that the chest faces forward again. Seeing if you can sink a little more deeply. And then gently releasing the back leg down to the floor. Returning the hands to support the knee. Inhaling, lifting, and then last time folding over the front leg. Exhaling, softening forward. Inhaling, lifting up, and then returning the knee in and working with the opposite side. So this time extending through the opposite leg, bringing the foot out a little further in front of the knee, bringing the hands over the knee, inhaling and exhaling as we soften forward. Checking in with the body weight. So making sure that we're not leaning forward. We want to feel like the weight of the body is traveling straight down towards the floor. Seeing if you can soften. Inhaling, lifting up, flexing through the foot, so pointing the toes up towards the sky. Exhaling as you fold the body forward. Again, working to fold yourself down over that front leg, continuing to lengthen through the spine. And then inhaling, returning the foot down to the floor, lifting yourself back up, returning the hands to the knees, exhaling, folding forward. Seeing if you can sink a little more deeply here. Checking in with the hips. So making sure that the hips are still squared towards the front, that we're not splaying open into the I don't know, splaying open. It's easy to overextend here. We want to really keep the hips square. So you might feel like you need to come out of the position a little bit and then exhale, sinking back down, making sure that the hips are facing forward. Inhaling, lifting up, straightening through the front leg, toes come up towards the sky, exhaling, folding forward. Breathing here, keeping active through the front foot, continuing to draw the toes up towards the sky, feeling how that increases the stretch and helps it run all the way down through the calf muscle. Inhaling, lifting up, returning the hands to the knee, exhaling, sinking down. And again, if you would like to, working to lift through the back leg, seeing if you can reach around to take hold of the back foot. Inhaling and then exhaling as you sink and soften down. Working to check in with the hips as well as the shoulders. Aiming to draw the shoulders and the hips so that they face directly forward. Inhaling deeply and exhaling, seeing if we can soften a little further. Checking in with the body weight, making sure that the grip on the front knee is just light. And then slowly releasing that back leg down to the floor. Inhaling, lifting yourself back up. And then last time, pointing the toes up towards the sky. Exhaling, folding yourself forward. Finding that stretch through the back of the leg, breathing into it. Continuing to work to lengthen through the spine. And then inhaling, bending the knee, lifting yourself back up, and then bringing the back leg in, lengthening out your mat, and coming to a seated position. Drawing the soles of the feet together, bringing the hands around the ankles, bringing the elbows into the knees, and then let's gently rock from side to side. Working to press the elbows down into the knees here, and at the same time working to lift out of the pelvis, lengthening through the spine. Working your way back to center, seeing if you can bring the heels of the feet a little closer in towards the pelvis, interlacing the fingers, wrapping the fingers around the toes, and then feathering through the knees. Pausing with the eyes closed, lengthening through the spine, continuing to bounce the knees gently up and down. Blinking the eyes open, releasing the grip of the toes, bringing the fingertips down to the floor, inhaling and exhaling as we fold forward into Baddha Konasana, or bound ankle pose. So working to lengthen through the spine, working to push the knees down towards the floor as you fold the body forward. So you may or may not get much movement here. Just observing without judgment, noticing what your experience is, taking your awareness into the sensations of the stretch. Engaging the core, inhaling, lifting up, and then again, interlacing the fingers in that awkward position. Wrapping the fingers back around the toes and feathering once more through the knees. Closing the eyes, lengthening through the spine. And then gently releasing, pausing, finding stillness, blinking the eyes open, and then coming into a comfortable cross-legged position. So sitting with the legs crossed, lengthening through the spine, preparing for yoga mudra. So bringing the forefinger into the pad of the thumb, remaining three fingers are outstretched and together, allowing the eyes to close. Taking a moment to draw the awareness within. And then preparing with your next inhalation, sweeping the arms back in line with the hips, drawing them up to shoulder height, softening through the wrists and the elbows. Palms of the hands face away from the body. Exhaling, folding the body forward, bringing the forehead down towards the floor, crossing the wrists over the lower back. As we bow this first time in respect for self. Pausing to consider what that means to you. Bowing in respect for self. Inhaling, lifting the body up, bringing the arms out to shoulder height, softening through the wrists and the elbows. Exhaling, releasing the hands down in line with the hips, sweeping the arms forward, and then bringing the backs of the hands to rest over the knees. Pausing with the eyes closed, lengthening through the spine, softening through the shoulders. Returning the awareness into the breath. And then working a second time. So we inhale, sweeping the hands back in line with the hips, drawing them up to shoulder height, softening through the wrists and the elbows. Exhaling, folding the body forward, crossing the wrists over the lower back, bowing the forehead down towards the floor. Bowing this second time in respect for others. Again, pausing to consider what that means to you. Perhaps who those people or beings are. Bowing in respect for others. Inhaling, lifting the body up, bringing the arms out to shoulder height, softening through the wrists and the elbows. Exhaling, releasing the hands down in line with the hips, sweeping the arms forward, bringing the backs of the hands to rest over the knees. Closing the eyes if they're not already closed, bringing the awareness into the breath. And then working a third and final time. So inhaling, sweeping the arms back in line with the hips, drawing them up to shoulder height, softening through the wrists and the elbows. Exhaling, folding forward, crossing the wrists over the lower back, bowing the forehead down towards the floor. Bowing this third and final time in respect for all that is. Pausing to consider your place in the world, the people around you, the broader, greater environment as a whole, the planet and the universe. Bowing in respect for all that is. Inhaling, lifting the body up, bringing the arms out to shoulder height, softening through the wrists and the elbows. Exhaling, releasing the hands down in line with the hips, sweeping the arms forward and bringing the backs of the hands to rest over the knees. Softening, releasing the elbows, softening the fingers, pausing with the eyes closed. And then gently blinking the eyes open, extending the legs out long and taking a moment to point and flex through the feet. And then let's swing the legs around, coming all the way up to standing. So tucking the toes under, lifting the tailbone up into the sky, bringing the hands to the hips, rolling the shoulder blades back and down, squeezing them together, taking the elbows up into the sky, firming through your legs, strengthening your belly, inhaling and lifting up. From here, stepping the feet to about wrist width distance apart, working with Trikonasana as our spine twist today. So angling the back toes in, so drawing the right toes just slightly in, and then extending the left toes 90 degrees. So left toes face out towards the short end of your mat if you're working with a mat. Lengthening through the spine, engaging the core, leaning over to the left, and then exhaling, releasing your hand down towards the leg, and then the back hand, right hand lifts up into the sky. Inhaling, lengthening through the spine. Exhaling, bringing the hand down to the shin, and then seeing if we can creep that hand down towards the ankle. Continuing to work to twist through the spine, so opening the chest up towards the sky. If it's comfortable for the neck, you can turn the head to look up towards the top hand. Inhaling, seeing if you can lengthen a little bit further, and then exhaling. Returning the gaze down to the lower hand, strengthening through your legs, strengthening through your core. Inhaling, lifting to stand up, bringing the arms back up to shoulder height, returning the head and the feet back to center. Working with the opposite side. So this time, twisting your left toes just in slightly, and then the right toes come out 90 degrees. Lifting and lengthening through the spine. Inhaling, and then as we exhale, leaning over towards the right, reaching down for the right shin. Perhaps it's only the thigh, that's okay. Lifting the top arm up towards the sky. Inhaling. And then with your next exhalation, seeing if you can slide the lower hand down in the direction of the ankle. Continuing to look up to the top hand. If that creates discomfort for the neck, then leaving the neck in a neutral position, just looking forward. Continuing to soften as you exhale. And then returning the head back to center, lengthening and strengthening through the spine, engaging the core, strengthening the legs, inhaling and exhaling, lifting up, returning the feet back to center, exhaling, releasing the hands, and then stepping the heels and toes back to Tadasana. So finding Tadasana here, pausing with the eyes closed, strengthening and activating through the legs, drawing the tailbone down towards the floor, engaging through the core, feeling that the entire waist is sucking in towards the spine, opening through the chest, lifting the crown of the head up into the sky. Gently releasing, blinking the eyes open, coming down to the knees so that we can work with the camel again today. So making sure that the feet, the heels are a little bit wider than hip width distance apart, so that ideally when you sink the buttocks down, you can sit comfortably between the feet, but we're not sitting on the feet. So knees will be about hip width distance apart as well. Lifting yourself up, bringing the hands to the front of the thighs, working with the right arm first. So inhaling, lifting the right arm up towards the sky, exhaling, sweeping it back behind you and bringing the hand either to the lower back or alternatively taking the hand all the way down to the heel of the foot. From either position, working to shift the shoulders so that the chest faces directly forwards. Inhaling, sweeping the left arm up towards the sky. Exhaling, drawing it back behind you. And again, either bringing it to the lower back or bringing it to the heel of the foot. Working to push through the thighs, keeping the fronts of the legs strong, opening through the chest. And if you're holding onto the heels, you might like to see if you can drop the head back as you continue to push the body forward. To release out of the position, we drop the pelvis down towards the heels, taking hold of the big toes, lengthening through the spine, lifting up, exhaling, folding forward. Bringing the forehead all the way down to the floor, pausing here, releasing the grip on the toes, just lengthening the arms out alongside you. Inhaling, lifting up, and then coming back up onto the knees, working a second time. So this time starting with the left hand, making sure that the thighs are active and strong, working to take the tailbone down towards the floor. Inhaling, lifting through the left arm. Exhaling as we take the hand around, either bringing it to the lower back or bringing it down to the heel of the foot. Twisting the shoulders so that the body comes back straight to the front. And then inhaling, bringing the right arm up towards the sky. Exhaling, taking it back behind you. Again, either bringing the hands down to the heels or bringing the hands to the lower back. From either position, working to take the pelvis forward, lengthening through the spine, and maybe dropping the head back behind you. When you need to release, gently, slowly lowering the hips down to the floor, tucking the tailbone under, coming to take hold of the little toes, lengthening through the spine, exhaling as you fold the body forward. Again, resting the forehead down on the floor. Pausing here. And then inhaling, lifting yourself up. From here, lifting up, sweeping the legs over to one side and extending the legs out long so that we can work with creative power pose from seated position. Let's work with one leg at a time. So leaving your right leg extended, right leg stays long, bringing the left foot into the thigh, peeling the padding out from underneath the sitting bones, bringing the heel of the foot up as close as you can to the pelvis, cupping the hands by the hips, lifting and lengthening, and then inhaling, circling the arms up, exhaling, folding the body forward, aiming to take hold of the foot or the shin, inhaling, lifting and lengthening through the spine, exhaling and folding forward. Allowing the eyes to softly close. Inhaling, lengthening, and exhaling, softening. Inhaling, lengthening, and then gently releasing the hands, walking the hands back in as you lift the body back up. Pausing with the eyes closed, returning the hands to starting position, so cupping the hands by the hips, inhaling deeply, and then exhaling, sweeping that breath out through the body. Gently blinking the eyes open, releasing the leg out long, and then working with the opposite side. So this time bending through the right leg, bringing the foot into the thigh, lifting the padding out from underneath those sitting bones so that we feel like the pelvis is already starting to help us tilt forward. Cupping the hands by the hips, inhaling, circling the arms up, reaching up, strengthening through the core, exhaling, folding forward, taking hold of the foot or the shin, inhaling, lengthening, exhaling, taking the heart out towards the toes. Once more, inhaling, lengthening through the spine, exhaling, seeing if you can soften a little further down. And then inhaling, lifting, lengthening through the spine, strengthening through the core, and then releasing the hands and walking the fingertips back into the body as we lift the spine up. Returning the fingertips to starting position, pausing with the eyes closed. Inhaling deeply. And exhaling, sweeping the breath out through the body. Gently blinking the eyes open and then releasing the legs. Once more, just pointing and flexing through the toes, perhaps having a shake out through the legs. From here, let's swing the feet around, tucking the toes under, alternatively working with the bandhas from standing. So creating the same action with the body from the knees up, but you may like to come into standing. Bringing the hands to the thighs. And then exhaling any breath from the body. Inhaling deeply down into the belly. Filling up through the chest, holding the breath. And exhaling through the mouth. Releasing all of the breath from the body. And then sucking the stomach muscles back up and underneath the rib cage, engaging through the pelvic floor, tucking the chin into the chest, holding. When you need to breathe, inhaling, lifting up, and exhaling, untucking the toes and folding the body forward. Inhaling, working a second time, working your way back up. Exhaling any breath from the body. And then inhaling deeply, taking a nice deep full breath here through the nose. Filling up all the way to the top of the chest. Pausing. Exhaling through the mouth. Sucking the stomach muscles back, up and under. Drawing the chin down to the chest, engaging through the pelvic floor. Feeling as though you are pulling all of the bones of the pelvis together. When you need to breathe, inhaling, lifting up. Exhaling, untucking the toes, folding forward. Releasing the forehead down towards the floor. And then inhaling, lifting up, working a third and final time. So lengthening through the spine, softening through the shoulders, exhaling any breath from the body. Inhaling deeply. Holding. Exhaling. Creating that stomach lift and lock, tucking the chin under, engaging the pelvic floor. When you need to breathe, inhaling, lifting up, and exhaling, untucking the toes, and this time rolling yourself down, coming to lie all the way down on the front of the body. Turning the head to one side, releasing the arms into a comfortable position, and just pausing here for a moment. Lengthening through the spine, tucking the chin under, forehead comes flat to the floor. preparing to work with either cobra or sphinx. So bringing the hands flat to the floor on the outside of the shoulders, forearms come down flat to the floor. If you are working with sphinx, then bringing the hands one hand's length forward and aiming to stay down on the forearms. So inhaling, lifting through the head, looking forward, lifting through the chest. Seeing from either position if you can float the hands off the floor and lift up a little higher. And then pushing the hands down into the floor, lifting yourself up if you are coming into the cobra. Keeping a bend through the elbows, continuing to draw the elbows in towards the ribs, softening through the shoulders. So from either position, whether it's cobra or sphinx, we don't want to be collapsing down through the chest. Really work to open through the chest, pushing the heart forward, creating length through the spine. Inhaling deeply. And exhaling, softening the body forward and down. Tucking the chin under, bringing the forehead down to the floor, and then turning the palms of the hands to face up towards the sky, turning the head to one side, bringing the feet in towards the buttocks, and then flopping the legs from one side to the other side. So softening here, windscreen wipering the legs to just release through the lower back. Working your way back to center, releasing the feet down to the floor. And then let's take the arm up overhead, pushing into the left hand, rolling onto the back of the body so that we come to lie on the back. Drawing the knees in towards the chest, hugging them in and releasing. Taking the hands down to the floor, taking the feet up into the sky, engaging through the core, preparing to work with shoulder stand or a variation. So remembering that we can work with the variation of shoulder stand, which is simply to leave the feet up towards the sky, lifting through the head and tucking the chin in towards the chest. From here, if you're working with the full position, bringing the hands down to the floor, inhaling, exhaling as you take the feet back behind the head, interlacing the fingers, squeezing the shoulder blades together, and then releasing the hands, coming to support the lower back. Once the lower back is supported, then working to lift the feet up into the sky. Feeling a gentle squeeze here from either position through the throat. And then exhaling, releasing down. So lowering the feet back down behind the head. Releasing the hands down to the floor. And then unwinding the spine. Keeping that control through the core as you lower the heels down to the floor. And then coming straight into the fish. So bending the knees, bringing the feet flat to the floor, lifting through the pelvis, interlacing the thumbs underneath the body, drawing the arms together as much as you can, and then lowering the pelvis down, sitting on flat hands. So unlocking the thumbs, lengthening the legs, and then pushing into the elbows, taking the heart up into the sky, draping the head back behind you. Working to lift the chest up into the sky. Again, making sure we're not collapsing down through the shoulders. And then without turning the head, slowly lengthening the spine, lowering yourself back down, pushing into the heels, releasing the hands out from under you. Turning the head from one side to the other side. And then returning back to center. Pausing with the eyes closed for a moment. And then gently working your way up into a seated position. So either drawing the hands to the heart or bringing them underneath the lower back. Engaging through the core, inhaling, lifting. And then exhaling, rolling yourself over, coming to tabletop and into the elephant. So tucking the toes under, lifting the tailbone up towards the sky, stepping the feet to match width distance apart, aiming to soften the heels of the feet down towards the floor, and then allowing the head to drape comfortably between the shoulders. So perhaps turning your head from one side to the other side, aiming to soften and release all of the muscles through the neck and through the face. Inhaling, looking to the hands, lifting the heels, stepping the feet back together, and then lowering the knees down to the floor, untucking the toes, creating two fists with your hands, and resting your forehead on your fists. Inhaling, lifting up, and then coming to lie down on the back of the body for relaxation. So lying yourself all the way down, bringing the arms comfortably down to the floor, turning the palms of the hands to face up towards the sky, having the feet a comfortable distance apart, and then allowing the feet to flop down towards the floor. So allowing the thighs to roll out and the feet rolling out as well. Lengthening through the spine, feeling the shoulder blades draw back and down so that you feel open through the chest. Allowing the eyes to close. And just pausing comfortably here on the floor. Allowing the breath to flow through the body. Allowing yourself to release and soften with each exhalation. Gently deepening the breath with your next inhalation, wiggling through the fingers and the toes. And then taking the arms up overhead, stretching out, lengthening. And then rolling yourself over onto one side, drawing the knees up towards the chest, pausing on your side for a moment. And then working your way up to a comfortable seated position. Drawing the hands to the heart, allowing the eyes to close. Inhaling deeply. And then exhaling, bowing the body forward. Sending some thoughts of kindness to yourself. And then extending those same thoughts out to others and the world as a whole. Inhaling, lifting the body up. Exhaling, releasing the hands, blinking the eyes open. And thank you for joining me.